Well, here we are, morning of day 3 of the heat wave. Today is supposed to be the hottest day for us. Yesterday, we were forecasted to hit 100. We hit 105. Feels like 127. And let me tell you, it sat at 104. Feels like 121. 4 hours. So it was really, really hot. So the same game with the little chickens was to just keep their feet wet, give them lots of fresh water, keep their feeder cool. We put a fan on the little bantams that we have that are joining the flock that are still meeting the other ones. You can see the blacktop. We moved it around. But at one point they got hot even though they weren't in the sun. So we put a fan on them and then moved it to the broody hens again. Beans got really hot. So in the end, when it was just sitting at that absolutely sweltering temperature, we ended up putting a mister on one side of his pen, actually inside. We're going to figure out how to dry it out. Oh, actually, it looks a little yellow. Huh. And so he would lay next to it, but not under it, to stay cool. Our house ended up being much, much, much hotter. That extra humidity and how long it stayed hot. I think when I went to sleep, it was still like 87 degrees and the feels like was 98. So we couldn't open the windows. And the little AC units that are ranked to do like less than half of our house in 90-degree weather kind of just laughed and said, well, we'll keep running, which I appreciate, but aside from that, didn't provide a whole lot of the cool that we would always hope for. Oh, there's the moon. Can you see it? Still there. It's just 5 in the morning. Button the duck actually swam in the pond yesterday, and I stood there for probably 10 minutes until I had to go inside because it was just too hot, and sprayed her and set a hose for her to swim through for a little bit. I didn't think she'd actually go in the pond. That water's really warm, but she did. She seemed happy. And then she hung out in the bushes with the chickens. She free ranges with the chickens and hangs pretty close to them. Let's see. Oh, some of those peppers look really orange. Went ahead and just left the shade cloth. We actually came out at one point and watered. Actually, my husband did the shade cloth down to see if we could keep it cool. We didn't end up moving the lettuce. It was just too stinking hot, and I can't even imagine today. If yesterday's temperature was supposed to be 100 and our feels like, which is really much higher. We went for a drive at one point to cool down, and you could see areas of humidity, and you would drive through them and it would just be like driving through steam. It was amazing. And then you would see houses that had a whole bunch of people at them. Those people must have central AC. This is the first house we've lived in that hasn't. I'm not sure where we'll come out on that, but for now. The little units, eventually we moved one to our room and cooled it down, and so it's cold in there. It's Monday, so Husband will be working from home, not on the farm. Ooh. It's very rare you hear sirens here. Corn loved it. Actually, this corn grew too. I wish we had planted this corn much earlier. Oh, the stalks on these are purple. I need to look at that. I heard that there's something that causes that. Anyway, so there's the corn. Corn made it. Corn grew. Raspberries and blackberries made it. All the little plans to get things done 15 minutes at a time this week kind of went out the window with the heat. But we'll see. So, gosh, it's supposed to be 111 today. So if we get hotter than that by 5 degrees, like we usually do, in the winter we actually get cooler. It has to do with where we are. Luckily we don't get, oh, there are the cherries I couldn't find yesterday. I just needed more coffee. Look at that. I'll have to bring the kids out to pick those before it gets too hot. What was I saying? Oh yeah, 111, so 116. I can't even imagine what that feels like it's going to be, so we're going to set up misters again. Chickens are less enthusiastic about... Oh, it's a mouse. Oh no, it's a chicken. Oh! I don't think I can show you. I just found our missing broody hen. She's back under there. Butterscotch. Butterscotch wants to have little chicks. And honestly, I don't think we have a rooster that's really getting it done. Maybe our dark Cornish rooster, but I don't think we want barnyard mix dark Cornish chicks. So we'll have to pull her eggs. She started sitting again yesterday. She's sat 3 times around the yard this year, and when she goes missing, we know she's broody. It's not like we think she's gotten eaten, and every time we eventually find her. This is the first time we actually have a rooster where we might have eggs that hatch. I still have to figure out. It's Monday. The ducklings get shipped today. So, starting tomorrow, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with them. Which hen to give them to. Probably not the one that's going to peck your head off, but maybe. And find a good safe place for her. We had one rabbit give us a pretty good scare yesterday morning. When we went to bed, he looked fine and ate his carrot that we gave him at night that was from the freezer, and he was happy and had fresh water and hot, but not hurt. And then yesterday morning, after I was done recording, I went out and checked on him, and he was huddled in the back of his cage, not coming out to eat. He's a very friendly bunny, and not even breathing hard. And so I couldn't reach him in the back of his cage, so I went and got my husband, and I put some shavings in a Sterilite tub with some banana and a little bit of water and some food, and we set him in there, and we set him by the fan because he doesn't like the cold water bottles or frozen water bottles that we put in a sock. I'm gonna need to put water in these. The water evaporated a lot, so I found yesterday that we ended up filling these full. A couple chickens would come to drink, and then they'd be nearly empty because of the evaporation. Anyway, so after about 2 hours, he finally started perking up, and now he's back to his normal self, who wants to jump out and start looking for spicy hay around the house, but we can't put him back out. So he's going to be inside for the duration because it's still going to be cooler inside than out. But yeah, I better get started because today is going to be the hot one. And I'll tell you how it works out tomorrow.